What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to F1 2015 Button Bounces Back, episode number 5 I think this is. In the last episode you saw us go into the Bahrain Grand Prix and achieve our best finish of this career mode so far. I believe we came in 7th place, if my memory serves me to be correct. Let me know if I'm right or wrong in the comments down below on that one, because I honestly can't remember. But we are now on to Spain, Catalonia, the Spanish Grand Prix, and this is actually one of my top 3 tracks on F1. I really like this track, but with the McLaren's top speed, as I seem to mention every single episode, being a bit of a downfall, I didn't actually expect to do too well, because there's only one, you could say 2 real strats on this track. The start-finish one, which is an absolutely humongous one, and then there's a sort of mini one which are coming up to in about 3 corners time, where you sweep it round to the right, and there's a bit of a DRS zone that you can fly through there. It's not the longest straight in the world, but it is still a straight. But this would actually go on to be an absolutely superb race for us. We qualified really nicely. You can see us at the moment, we're sitting in the 5th and 6th, sort of flushing between the two. Here's that DRS zone that I was just talking about going into the sharp left, and I think this is a track that I like a lot, and a lot of people also like for the same reason, and that reason being is that it's on a lot of games. This track is Catalonia. You tend to find it on things like Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo. I'm not entirely sure if they are on those 2 games, but it's just a track that seems to be on a lot of different games too, so it's a track that you sort of get used to. But at this point, I'm going to say, if you would smash a thumbs up on this video, once again, that would be absolutely insane, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with everything I'm putting out there. I'm thinking once I finish this, I might even do another F1 career style video, because this series is going down so well at the moment. So as you can see, we qualify in an absolutely outstanding 5th place. That is by far the best qualification we've had. I say by far, I think the best before this was probably like 8th maybe, and I think that was in the Australian Grand Prix if I remember correctly, but again, I struggle to remember these things. But 5th place qualification, absolutely superb as we jump into the race there. The sun was shining, which is what I was hoping to see, because you don't want to get a good qualifying and then have it all thrown down the shitter because you've basically got a bit of rain thrown into the equation. It can screw you over. But I believe it was a Mercedes lockout on the front row again. Hamilton and Rosberg just like absolutely dominating this series so far for the majority. Alonso qualified in 14th, again not the best from him. You can see him there at the moment. I mean, it's so crazy, because you think Alonso would be able to push me a bit more, being as though he's like a championship winning driver, but doesn't seem to be doing it for McLaren. You can see there we are in 5th place, and we're only behind the freaking McLaren, sorry, the Mercedes and the Ferraris, which is absolutely insane to think, really. But we jump to the start of the race here, and I actually screw up. We start here, you can see me revving, and I accidentally take my foot off the gas before, well, as the lights go out, so we lose 2 places like instantly. So I qualified in 5th, you can see we dropped straight back into 7th, and I was like, what the hell have I just done? But thankfully we managed to get 1 place straight back there. I think it's Felipe Massa that we're dueling with, managed to hold on tight to the line and then swing it round again. So we'll hold off Felipe Massa, we're coming up behind Bottas, so we've just lost a 1 place as it stands at the moment. And then there's actually a bit of a semi-controversial incident. We go a bit aggressive into the corner, sort of knock Bottas out the way, sort of get away with that one. I think it was probably a bit overzealous from myself there, but thankfully it didn't affect me or Bottas too much in the long run. There was no major damage caused or anything like that, and this is where the race gets going, because you can see you've got those top 4 like I mentioned. You've got the 2 Mercedes of Hamilton and Rosberg, and then the 2 Ferraris of Raikkonen, and who's the Ferrari driver? And Vettel, of course. Vettel's the other one. And this seems to be sort of, if I have a really on it good race, this seems to be the limit of this car. I think I spoke briefly in the last episode about sort of being able to, struggling to keep up with the Williams, but being able to hold off people like the Red Bull. When I'm on it, on a track that I know, I seem to be able to beat the Williams, but the the Ferraris and the Mercedes just seem to be a step too far. But you can see I am really matching them turn for turn. But we're coming onto the big straight that I was on about, just the start-finish straight, and they will just slowly pull away now. And as the course of the race goes on, they slowly pull away a little bit more. But we do manage to keep reasonably in touch with them. We're actually going to skip forward a couple of laps now. Lap 2, we've just entered, like I said, just behind Raikkonen. We sort of tried to make a pass, but I have to back out of it. I'm sure we'll skip forward a few laps in a second, because like I say, the front 4 basically just start slowly edging away from us. I mean, if we'd have made that little pass stick there on Raikkonen as we go a little bit wide, then perhaps we could have helped our chances sort of push ourselves a little bit further forward, but it just wasn't doable at the time. And I mean, I also spoke in the last episode about there's always a couple of corners on the track where perhaps you seem to be a lot quicker than the computer, and this track seemed to have like 3 or 4 of them, 3 or 4 corners I felt like I really had the beating of the computer consistently. And there is that quick lap change like I just spoke about, all the way up to lap 5 now. You can see Raikkonen and Co really catch them, and Bottas is right up our backside, even though we had that incident, like I say, on that first lap. He managed to recover, thankfully, because, you know, we like a bit of aggressive racing every now and then, but we don't want to ruin someone else's race, you know. I know that might sound a bit sad because it's on the computer, but you know what I mean. We like to play this realistically, like Bottas anyway, goes around the outside. I thought I managed to hold him off with a really tight inside line, but not quite. And he will start pulling away a little bit now, but you'll start to see something really interesting unfold. I mean, we do try and match him around here, but again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Williams has just got that little bit too much pace. I can really slaughter it throughout the corner sections, but he's just got that little bit too much pace, and you'll see here we're in the DRS zone and everything, and we're still just not quite able to reel him in. It's really strange because the Red Bull I can deal with quite nicely, but the Williams, particularly Massa, usually causes me so many problems when I'm trying to defend or trying to catch up. But we jump forward to lap 7 here, and this is a pivotal point in the race. We actually take Bottas up the inside there. It's really close wheel-to-wheel racing. We managed to just about edge him out. Again, a little bit aggressive, but not too over the top. I don't think we're going a little bit wide at this point because we're about to pit in. The tyres are really worn at this stage of the race, and this here is one of the corners actually where that I seem to be able to take a lot quicker than the computer. We cut it a tiny bit, but nothing too much. Pull into the pits. I nearly hit the pit wall there, which is absolutely crazy. If I'd have hit the pit wall there, that would have been an absolutely ridiculous way to retire the race. But Bottas actually carried on. He didn't pit in straight away, so we actually had a bit of a scenario here, which is why I say it was really important that we passed him there. We had a bit of a scenario where there's a couple of strategies being played out by a couple of the teams at the top, and it's going to be interesting to see where we panned out. So we entered the pits in 5th place, I think it was, because we'd just taken over Bottas, obviously, and then we come out in, I think it's 10th place. There's one more race that comes past us. There it is. Look, Marcus Ericsson whizzes past us and puts us into 10th place. So at this point, I was sort of like, you know what, we're pitted in and we're still in the points, which is really cool. But now you'll see we're still in 10th, coming to the end of that lap. We've just come out the pits, done this lap, and we have an absolutely belter, clearly, because not only do we jump back into 6th place, 5th place battle that we had going on with Bottas, we also reel in Kimi Raikkonen, who appeared to have absolutely blasted away to the distance. You see we got a really nice pass on Bottas there. Actually, I thought I got in just a little bit too deep on the braking, but managed to pull it round him. And obviously we got the hot tyres, the nice warmed up tyres compared to Raikkonen's cold ones, so we just blast straight past him as well. And we actually managed to squeeze past him pretty easily, like I say. When you've got the hot tyres, the warmed up ones, and the computer have just come out, the computer are so slow, tentative when they just come out the pits. It's crazy. So I was like, you know what, pedal to the metal now. Let's open up a gap between me and Raikkonen and Bottas behind. And you can see we're jumping forward all the way to lap 15. I am still in 4th place. This is what I mean. This race is just absolutely superb. I didn't expect to do anywhere near this well. You'll actually see now, finally, Raikkonen had slowly been... I'd opened up a bit of a gap. He slowly reeled me in. And like I mentioned before, he just has the power to just fly past me and on the straights, and there's not a lot I can do about it. But with 2 laps left, this actually turns into a really nice duel for 4th and 5th. I actually go really wide there. I think it was because I went into the corner, tried to brake late, and thought at one point I might go into the back room, so I just went out off the track limits just to make sure I avoided him. But like I say, this was just race for us. I mean, this is going to be, if you pass Raikkonen on Ox, there's a nice gap at this point to Bottas, a 3-second gap, and like I say, I'm pretty confident about this track, so this is always going to be our best finish of the series so far. And it's also nice to see that we can be competitive on the tracks that I like. My favourite tracks actually, well, my favourite track out the whole lot is actually Spa, and that has got one absolutely humongous straight in it, so it's going to be really interesting to see if we can do a repeat performance here. But what I'm trying to say as well is it's nice to see that the McLaren can still be reasonably competitive, even though we are an expert, and even though it hasn't got the straight line speed. But Raikkonen, he did open up a little bit of a gap to us here, but you'll see I mentioned not long ago about us being a little bit quicker in the last little chicane there at the end, the quick left and right. I say the quick, it's actually a pretty slow left and right, and we absolutely reel him in just a second, and it makes a very exciting last lap, because if you can't see as well on screen, we also have the back marker. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Stevens, but I also was aware that he was there, so that could potentially hold up Raikkonen a little bit if something was to go wrong there. So there was just absolutely everything to race for as we go into lap 17 of 17 now. You can see we've got the really nice gap to Bottas. We were pulling away from him easily. I think it was just the fact that I was racing with Raikkonen gave me that extra bit of pace. You can see again we absolutely reel him in too much there. Got a little bit of contact, and Jesus Christ, lads, imagine if that had been like a little bit worse, sort of got a puncture anything could have happened there that could have just ended the race, and that would have been an absolute killer. But we do get away with it. It does mean Raikkonen pulls away a little bit more of a lead, but again we seem to be able to reel him in the corners a little bit more. But you can see as well, if you compare the lines I'm taking now to the lines that you saw earlier, I'm running a bit wider, I'm trying to push it, and the tyres just haven't got the same amount of grip as they did have earlier in the race. So Raikkonen at this point opens up a little bit more of a gap. You can see I'm really fighting the car head to stay on the track and try and reel him in at the same time. Irish is still just about staying the DRS zone with him here because he did have a bit of an incident. We so nearly went off there as well, and I don't know if you heard it there, but it sort of made a strange noise as I just caught the kitty litter. I actually thought I got a puncture at the time. I was like, please no, but thankfully that wasn't the case. And you can see because of him having to pass, I think it was Stevens, I wasn't paying full attention when I was watching it, I think it was Stevens to that marker, it did mean that we were able to catch him up a little bit more. Like I say, I was aware it was a bit quicker in his last little chicane as well. I really pushed it, actually pushed it too much, ended up cutting the track, so I wasn't able to pass him. Even if I had done, I mean, it would have been a penalty there, I'd have had to let him back pass. But still, 5th place represents by far our best result so far of this series. Absolutely fantastic drive for Button, a fantastic drive for McLaren. Like I say, I mean, if you look at the lap times comparable there to all the other cars around me, I was really on it in that race. I mean, 20 seconds behind the lead is nothing to be ashamed of in the McLaren, and like I say, our best finish so far, and it's going to be really difficult to beat that in any other race in this series, I think. I mean, like I say, Spa's my favourite track, but 5th is just an absolutely incredible finish, and it gives us another 10 points on the board, which is absolutely fantastic to see. You can see it pushes us all the way up to 8th place in the drivers' standings now, which is fantastic, and it also pushes McLaren up a little bit further in the constructors as well. But that is the end of episode number 5. Our next track is the dreaded Monaco, which I absolutely suck at, so that is going to bring us straight back down to earth. Make sure you tune in for that one. Like I said before, like and subscribe if you're new around here, all that good stuff. I will speak to you next time. Nidge out.
That's what they're aiming for. It is through! They certainly can! It was magnificently struck by Dario.